Okay, it's been a little bit of some time. It's been a little bit of a while. As you can see, this is my current skill tree. It is a work in progress for sure. I'm missing a lot of stuff actually, and I'll be honest. So while working on this build when I first started, I was rushing, and I was rushing to try to get things done, and that like falls on me, right? Because the rushing ends up forcing items that I don't have into the equation, and obviously I can't play the game with things I don't have, right? So as you can see by now, the build's feeling pretty decent, right? Pretty decent. I think oh man, I'm trying to remember. Did I think this is a newer recording. I'm actually going through in order, cutting everything down by how I see it in my files list. And so I'm giving you all just the preview of it all. I can't remember. I don't think I was doing any kind of strategy with mapping or anything. I strictly just wanted to get through the game and get to see this build as soon as possible. I wasn't focused on like farming divines or anything like that. I just wanted to play the game. As you can see, things are feeling good. Yeah, this is a continuation from what was happening before. Not much has changed at all from what I can remember. I think I literally am running the exact same setup. In fact, I don't think I go towards changing anything at all until I level up. And I'll tell you why. At a certain point through playing, I realized that I am missing like key items, right? So, for example, anything that's rare, it's kind of just like a known fact with Path of Exile. Majority of the time, anything that's rare, you can simply buy an upgraded version of from another player or craft a stronger version or do both, right? Buy a pretty decent base and then craft a stronger version of whatever it is you have from that base, right? So obviously, my rares are pretty much always going to need to get stronger and work towards being better, right? But my rares are not the only, thing in this equation. So outside of my helmet, my boots, my gloves, and my belt, um, another problem that I have are my jewels. So this build uses like 2 to 3 jewels that at the time of me like actually focusing towards this build, I believe each jewel was like 10 divine a piece, something like that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I'd seen even one divine up until this point. So I tried to like find cheaper bases and I had not known how to craft jewels at the time. I found out a little while later. Um, and tried for a little bit and then kind of gave up. But when I was like goofing off and uh, just buying bases and whatnot from Jules, I was buying cheaper alternatives. I forget what the exact requirement for the bases needed to be, but it was something like you need this special name um, base plus this special name whatever, and then this special name whatever, and you were only gonna allocate like two of the three, right? The third one was just to even out everything, but you weren't gonna get all three. It was something like that, right? And I just ended up not chasing it. So I would find cheaper jewels, and my game plan was to get way more currency down the line so that I could get the more expensive jewels. But to get more currency, you would just need to go farming and playing the game overall. And I was definitely playing the game, but I wasn't actively farming for currency. Meanwhile, my friend was, while I was figuring out how to like perfect my build. So, um, yeah, as you can see right now, I'm just trying to change the automations with my potions because I want to be able to have stuff. Well, I say potions, I guess flasks, because I want to be able to have things hit a little sooner and just be on top of it without me having to focus on the number pad or any kind of numbers at all, right? I'd rather the game just do it for me. I was trying to make it a complete one button build outside of this vol. I think it's cold snap. So yeah, that was like the major changes I can remember here. And if we're being honest, I really did enjoy um, just running around like this and killing everything. It took a minute to actually build to this point, and when I was actually able to play this build comfortably without like really ever having to like heal or something, like focus on tapping my flasks or running away from enemies to get my health regen or whatever the case may be, it felt like a really good time, right? Um, my friend who is in the party, as you could see over there, he. So I did notice something, right? If he joins my um, game, like comes in while I'm running, it will double the monster's health, right? Because monsters are going to be stronger and do more damage, scaling off of how many people are there. And because their health will be doubled, it means I'll have to deliver more hits. And delivering more hits can get me killed quicker because I take X amount of damage per hit. So running solo, this felt really good, but running with a friend, not so much. And it would probably feel better if my overall damage output was much higher. It was just because I was still figuring out how the build worked and what it was I was supposed to be looking like towards. Nah, I just chose to run alone. Um, honestly, it everything just felt good, looked good. I genuinely enjoyed it. This was super satisfying. If anybody's played like a one button build and they've never really touched one before, and it's still kind of new to the game like I am, just being able to run around and everything dies as long as you dash into the first enemy or something. I mean, yeah, it just overall felt super satisfying, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a lot of fun, but the build was so far from being done. The person that I saw who made the video, I think their health was like 8,000. I think their health and shield were like 8,000 apiece, right? So they had a high energy shield and like high health, but it was also their damage was ridiculous, right? Like how you see I'll hit some enemies and it'll cut down on their shield and they'll still be alive. I'm assuming it was a guy, was just one shotting everything. And so I was trying to follow his build to get it up and running for this season. And I'm not gonna lie, it really did feel like this was like the season of the witch, right? Because I believe this was an elementalist that I'm using, right? So it really did feel like it was season of the witch from all the stuff I was hearing and all the builds I was seeing towards the beginning and middle of the season. And it was just a crazy experience overall, which is why I think um, this is where like my last video had cut off or somewhere around here because I ended up moving my cold snap to the top bar and taking it off of my queue. I think what happened was I saw some people. See, I almost have 3K health now, like 2,800. But I saw some people changing some things around where they would put like their flasks on Z and C and all these extra keys instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I was trying to do something of the sort, or maybe it was just based completely on comfortability and I was still figuring out how I wanted this build to feel. So I was still moving stuff around and trying to get a better understanding for, excuse me, what it is I wanted to do. As you can see, I had some skills at the bottom that are locked. If you put certain skills on automation, or cast when damaged or whatever the case may be, and those skills end up being like a higher level than that cast when damaged or whatever, then the skills will not proc on cast when damaged. So this was also a learning process for me too, because I don't usually use setups like cast when damaged, or I think some people would say cast on crit or whatever the case may be. I was never really using stuff like this or automation, etc. I was usually following some main build that I might have seen somewhere and didn't really understand how to go about building. And that was just my play style overall. Um, so this season was definitely like my season of learning what to do and if I could potentially build my own build, how I would go about doing it. As you can see, I almost died here. I ended up backing off and running away, and this is what I was talking about. I ended up doing pretty decent damage to the boss, but once I start taking some genuine hits, some genuine damage, every hit that I do hurts me. So if my health is low enough, I have to run away to regain health so that I don't die. And that could be an extra 2 or 3 seconds that could have been put towards finishing the boss. And I'm not gonna lie, if I would have been put in that area where it's just like a swamp and you have to kill to like get to the door or whatever, I probably would have failed this entire like invitation because you're taking a good chunk of damage pretty fast in that area, and then mix that with enemies swarming me, and I don't think I'm getting out of the muck. So them giving me the opportunity to beat this man before I was swallowed was like pure luck, but it felt great. As you see, I replaced my belt. I'm pretty sure it was the change. I went from like a standard belt to the Stygian Vice. I've been seeing a lot of people, like I believe it was last season, use the Stygian Vice and found out that it's actually a really helpful belt in terms of health and elemental resistances. And then you can put an actual Abyssal Jewel in it, which gives you even more stats. And of course, the Abyssal Jewel I wanted was like 12 Divine, so I just used the next best thing. But all in all, up to this point, everything was still feeling pretty good. So yeah, this was my journey up until this point.